All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are back for feature match 4 from the Legacy Tour, where we will be watching James Mabry on the left on Storm. That's the, I think this is the ad nauseum variant, it's not the Epic Storm. And on the right is Samuel Reed playing Eldrazi Stompy. Get the screen fixed there. All right, we will give the players the thumbs up in just a second, and we'll get this match underway. All right, the players have been notified, although it looks as though James may be in the midst of some mulligan decisions. We will begin this match very shortly. So this is a race. This entire match. Storm has to go off before a Chalice can totally ruin their day, or something like Thorn of Amethyst. And Eldrazi is trying to get something like Thorn or Chalice as quickly as they can um, to to stop their Storm opponent from just killing them. Now, Sam, it appears, has kept sort of a shaky hand on the back of Chalice being that good, but we'll see. Here it comes. There's the turn one Chalice, which is sort of the bane of decks like Storm. We'll see what James is able to cobble together and do. He has a basic island and a ship of the turn. Now, I don't believe that Storm has any main deck answers to a card like Chalice of the Void. This is mostly a sideboard tool. Um, Looks to me like Sam now has the decision of play some lands um, and leave his Warping Whale shields down. Um, but he's going to have to do that at some point. He just can't afford to do nothing, and just to preserve his Chalice of the Void. Now he does have a looks to be a Reality Smasher, so in a turn or three he can start playing some creatures, and he should have that kind of time because Storm, like we said, just game one, Storm just doesn't have the resources really to do anything about a card like Chalice of the Void. It's sort of a concession you make when playing a deck like this. Now that looked to be a Lotus Petal, so that is something he can play to get around it, and he has cards like Cabal Ritual, which can produce mana once he's found his threshold. Another City of Traders for Reed. Not exactly what he's looking for, but he has an Eldrazi Temple, and I think another City of Traders should be able to get a turn 3 or turn 4, or whatever this is, um, Reality Smasher, and against an opponent who's just so locked out like Mabry is, um, that should be good enough. Another Eldrazi Temple will probably be the play for the turn into that Reality Smasher, and we'll get the beats going. Put James on a 4-turn clock. There it is. Smashing realities, ruining hopes and dreams. James falls to 15 and 14, make that, as he fetches end of turn, probably for his one of basic swamp. And I don't know. This is probably the last chance he's gonna get, because from now on, Samuel Reed will be able to hold up that Warping Whale as a defensive measure, and I don't think James is gonna have much of a way out of it. To all of you watching the stream, all 8 of you out there, thanks for joining us today. This is the Legacy Tour Huntsville, or the feature match coverage of, and it's brought to you by MTG Training Grounds. Check us out on Facebook, or like us on YouTube, or follow us on YouTube, I mean, and let us know what you think about today's feed. Apologize a little bit for the glare on Samuel's side of the table. The lighting in the store here, and the location of our feature match is a little problematic at times, but we'll see if we can't get that resolved sometime. And if not, I'm here to try and keep you up to date on all the spells being played and lands. Surprised to not see Reed use his Wasteland proactively here. Something like Empty the Warrens or whatever could still provide enough creatures to stop that Reality Smasher and buy James some turns. But looks like Reality Smasher swinging into the red zone again, and James is down to his final. James untaps and prepares for his final turn. It is do or die. Looks like he is falling to 3. Smells an awful lot like die, but we'll see. Maybe there's some trick up his sleeve. Guess you could somehow naturally storm into an awful lot of, well, the Chalice will stop this Ponder, I do believe. Lotus Petal, however. Let's see, we might have a Cabal Ritual. Yep, so that produces a whole bunch of mana. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. James is cracking his Lotus Petal in response. So he should have some number of mana floating now. Storm count is 3. I assume he's going to get a red mana with his Lotus Petal so that he can go for a Past in Flames kill here. I think is the game plan. Another Cabal Ritual will put him up to should be up to 6 black, 7 black, something like that. I don't know how. I'm bad with Storm. I apologize, but the Storm counts 4, and here is the empty-handed Infernal Tutor. They should be able to find the Past in Flames, except that Warping Wail isn't going to allow that to happen. And that's all she wrote. We will head into game 2, where players will have their sideboarded configurations. Now, Samuel has a really good game 1 setup for this matchup with his Chalice of the Voids, and then presumably some number of other disruptive artifacts. Well, I take it back. He's actually main deck. He's got Warping Wails, Dismember, Spatial Contortions, and Umazajite. Looks like he's trying to beat the other creature decks. But his sideboard, however, has 4 of Thorn of Amethyst. I think all 4 of those are definitely coming in. 1 of Worldbreaker. Don't think we'll see that. 4 Leyline of the Void, which is actually a good card against Storm. So we may try and squeeze those in as well. 1 of Helm of Obedience, 2 Phyrexian Revokers, 1 All is Dust, 1 Endbringer, and 1 Trinisphere. So the Trinisphere, the Thorns, the Ley Lines, and actually the Revokers aren't bad either because they can stop the mana abilities of both Lion's Eye Diamond and Lotus Petal. So there's actually a ton of cards for the Eldrazi player to bring in, and he has plenty to bring out too. The 2 Dismembers, 2 Spatial Contortions, 2 Umezawa's Jites, and probably some number of Matter Reshapers can all come out, because Matter Reshaper is sort of like the creature mirror grindier card, and against Storm you don't need that. So I'm counting at least 10 cards he can bring out for the Thorns, Trinispheres, Ley Lines, and the Revokers. So yeah, actually, I think that he can make a pretty clean 10 for 10 swap there and improve his already good matchup. On Mabry's side, we have 3 Abrupt Decays, 1 Ad Nauseam, 2 Carpet of Flowers, 2 Chain of Vapors, 2 Dread of Night, 1 Hurkyl's Recall, 1 Pithing Needle, 1 Sphinx of the Final Word, and 2 Surgical Extractions. I think James is likely to bring in the Abrupt Decays here, as those are his only good, clean answers to a Chalice of the Void or Thorn of Amethyst. The Chain of Vapors also can deal with Thorn of Amethyst, but they are terrible against Chalice of the Void because it'll almost exclusively be set to converted mana cost of 1. So he might bring that. Hurkyl's Recall is another good answer to artifacts. He can it's an instant, so he can end of turn, cast it, and then sort of go off on his own turn. But otherwise, that's about it. I think we'll see 3 Decays, maybe Chain of Vapors, and the 1 Hurkyl's Recall. So 4 to 5 cards, which is about all you can ever board in Storm. Cards to bring out. I think Empty the Warrens can definitely take a hike. He's not probably going to win via creature kill. He may want to consider cutting down on some of the 1 mana cantrips like Ponders or Preordains if he's running those. Even Gitaxian Probe. Although Gitaxian Probe is good because he can sort of empty his hand of all the 1 mana spells on turn 1 before a Chalice of the Void can resolve. So yeah, if I was sideboarding from Mabry's position right now, I would probably be dropping the some number of Ponders and the Preordain. Excuse me. Um, and potentially the Empty the Warrens for the Decays and the Recall. I think those are what I would do is the things that can directly deal with an artifact. Bring those, and then cards like Chain of Vapor if you think it's absolutely necessary. Um, but there's no denying it. This is a rough match for Storm. This is sort of the kind of decks that Mud and those variants of decks have tried to prey on for a long time. Both Miracles and Storm, because Chalice is just such an effective card against them. Um, but that's sort of the nature of Legacy. Um, one converted mana cost spells are just rampant, and a card like Chalice of the Void punishes players for playing too many of them. So now this Eldrazi Stompy deck, we had 2 of them in the field today. One Sam Reed, who is 2-1 currently, and I believe Lane Fox, the round 1 feature match, is 1-2 currently with a similar list. So these players are taking a look at their opening 7. Samuel Reed's hand is fast, but had no disruption, no Chalice of the Void, no Thorn of Amethyst, only a Thought-Knot Seer on turn 2, which just simply wouldn't be fast enough and isn't disruptive enough versus the Storm deck. You really need something more permanent like a Thorn of Amethyst or a Chalice of the Void or even a Trinsphere. Um, and you need it on turn 1 because that effectively gives the Storm player two free turns to set up and go off, and sometimes completely undisrupted the Storm players can, like, 2 turns is all you need, especially if James would be able to find a hand that contained like an LED and some cantrips. He could just go off on the second turn, knowing that Eldrazi Stompy has no counter spells. So both players are taking a mulligan, and we will see what the 6-card hands reveal. While we have a second, I'm gonna give a shout out to our host store and sponsor, JC's House of Cards, located here in Madison, Alabama. They have hosted us, the Legacy Tour, that is, I believe 4 or 5 times now, and the feedback has been almost universally positive. The store is great. They have a huge selection of singles, both eternal formats and non. Um, JC also keeps a huge selection of board games, role-playing games, miniatures, supplies, and all of the paraphernalia that goes with being a nerd, a card chucker, a dice flopper, or sorry, card flopper, or dice chucker. Got that backwards. Whether it be sleeves, binders, play mats, or just a nice place to play. Both of these players have finished resolving their mulligans and their Vancouver scries. Mabry has a turn 1 ponder and has decided that it looks terrible. He's going to immediately shuffle and spin the wheel for something a little better. Now, Sam has a hand very similar to his 7-card hand, but in this case, it's hard to throw back the 6-card hand with at least some pressure for a potential 5-card hand where you could run into something like an all lander or a no lander and really hang yourself. A second Thought-Knot Seer is actually a pretty solid draw, given that Sam has an opening Lotus Petal. He can make a 3-power Endless one, or actually he has an Eldrazi Mimic. I couldn't see that one, so Sam will fall to 18, and that Mimic is going to be able to attack for 4 next turn, or potentially more if he draws something like a Reality Smasher. James ponders, sees 3 lands, and immediately has to shuffle again. His first ponder yielded a Polluted Delta. Not sure what James is looking for. I haven't been able to get a good look at his hand, but I suspect with how aggressively he is shuffling off of his ponders, it's something very specific. Maybe just a singleton. Looks like what he doesn't want to draw is lands. I think I saw 2 or 3 lands in his hand there, and that's problematic. Looks like we have a Thought-Knot Seer incoming. Yep, and this will trigger the Eldrazi Mimic, allowing it to attack for 4. And we will see just what the contents of Mabry's hand were. We have a Past in Flames, a Lotus Petal, and a Dark Ritual. So it seems what James was actually looking for was a tutor of some sort, perhaps Infernal, or even more likely Grim or Dark Petition, Grim Tutor or Dark Petition. Past in Flames is a powerful card, although I think in this position the card to take is actually Dark Ritual, as James doesn't really have a way to get this hand off the ground without fast mana, and Dark Ritual is the only one he has right now. Now, it would be defense. You could make an argument for taking the Past in Flames because that is James' most common kill method, but I think in this case, so James. Sam is opting to take the Lotus Petal in this case. Perhaps Sam is prepping for a future Chalice of the Void or something like that, and wants to leave James with as many one mana spells as he can, as he will likely just jam the Chalice on 1 and try and cut James off of as many ritual effects as he can. So Sam has fallen to 16 and James is down to 15 after he breaks his fetch land to find an Underground Sea. James will need to find some business spells here and quick. He doesn't know it, but he's actually going to be taking 8 next turn, and he'll just be dead in 2 turns to the onslaught from these Thought-Knot Seers and the Eldrazi Mimic. We'll see what Mabry is able to find. The absolute best card right now would be a Brainstorm. He can totally reset his hand, maybe get this whole engine kick-started. Looks like the draw was a Lion's Eye Diamond, which if he doesn't cast it now, Sam will almost certainly take with his follow-up Thought-Knot Seer. Fetch land from Mabry. He's going to find himself another island or swamp. In this case, it's both. And I assume pass the turn, given that we know the contents of Mabry's hand. I don't see what he could hope to find here. Now, we know James has 1 more turn. Now he will be almost certainly cut off of an ad nauseum kill with his life total under. Oh, it looks as though James is going for it. He's decided it's time to storm, and he's going to cast his Past in Flames with that Dark Ritual, and then I assume just flash back a Ponder. This line doesn't make a lot of sense otherwise. He's opting to break the Lion's Eye Diamond. I guess probably for red mana, if I had to guess. 1 blue. Oh no, for blue mana. Take that back. So we've got 3 blue mana, and I believe he found it. Looks like he has a Lion's Eye Diamond and a Infernal Tutor in there. Now the question is, does James have the capability of generating enough mana? We'll see. A second Ponder is going to find. I assume this will be either the LED or the Infernal Tutor. Looks like James has already taken the Infernal Tutor. That would be my guess anyway. And he is going to blind draw now. off of the second ponder. Now this is dangerous as James has already played a land this turn. If James draws a land off of that ponder, he won't be able to empty his hand for the Infernal Tutor, and he won't be able to use it then to find something like a Tendrils of Agony. Couldn't see what the draw was, but I'm sure we'll find out soon enough. It is a third ponder. All right. So James sees, I saw a Dark Ritual, but no other business, and presumably this shuffle represents about the end of the turn, because I don't think you can continue the chain here. Let's see. He has 1 black mana available. If he were to find something like a Dark Ritual, or a Cabal Ritual is even better, I guess, because the net there is... No, they both net 3. So James could actually get himself up to 5 mana, but 5 isn't enough. You need at least 6 to cast Tendrils, and at least 7. Oh, I see. He's looking... He hasn't emptied the Warrens, and it looks as though he might be trying to find a red mana source. I don't know that there's enough mana in this hand now. Here comes a flashback Dark Ritual. That'll provide storm count of 7 and 3 black. Maybe James has taken the Lotus Petal? If he plays a Lotus Petal here, he could actually make a huge pile of goblins. We'll see what James is able to cobble together here. James is revealing his hand, and I think he's just packing them in. This is not enough. I'm not sure what exactly is going on here. James has revealed the remaining cards in his hand, but I don't think there's any sort of kill forthcoming, and he knows he's dead to the remainder of the creatures on the table in the ensuing turn. So I believe that is all she wrote, and Samuel Reed will take this game and the match 2-0 against James Mabry. We are going to take sort of an extended break here as this round ended quickly, but I don't think there's any other matches that are easy to swap into the feature match area. So if you guys will stick around and hang out with us, we'll be back in probably about 20 to 25 minutes for the final round of Swiss, and as we head towards the home stretch and the top 8.